10. Drug-filled sharks. The Sinaloa cartel trafficked cocaine for several years, at least since 2009, in frozen sharks that were filled with the drug. The route they followed went from Costa Rica to Puerto de Progreso, Yucatan, Mexico. Joaquin El Chapo Guzman became infamous for his involvement in Mexico's Sinaloa cartel, an international crime syndicate that rose to power in the 1980s. As one of the most powerful drug trafficking operations in the world, they took a lot of chances and had to come up with inventive ways to get their drugs out to the masses. One of the most creative ways was by using frozen sharks to smuggle their goods. After receiving a tip on a shipment of illicit cargo from the Mexican Navy, the Center for Maritime and Port Incidents and Customs Agents seized multiple shipments at the Yucatan container terminal. There, they found 2 suspicious containers, and using X-ray equipment, they then inspected the contents. Inside, they discovered something wasn't quite right, and after deploying a team of drug-sniffing dogs, the team found what was hidden inside. At first glance, the load of frozen sharks looked just like another shipment making its way from Mexico to Texas. But after authorities looked closer, they realized there were packages of white powder hidden inside the frozen sharks that later proved to be cocaine. The Sinaloa cartel had been transporting their drugs this way for a long time, so the seizure was an important one to sideline these illegal activities. But the operation was also a costly one for sharks. The Velazquez Fishing Corporation, a group that worked for the cartel since 2007, killed thousands of sharks each year to keep the charade going. As law enforcement agencies try to crack down on these illegal activities, it inspires traffickers to come up with clever ways to transport illegal goods. Using boats, planes, and even submarines is common, so when this massive haul of frozen drug-filled sharks was discovered, it was an eye-opener for law officials. Drug enforcement agents realized they needed to think outside the box to stop these illegal substances from making their way to the streets. 9. Chinese gun parts. Drugs and illegal animal products aren't the only things criminals try to smuggle, but they usually try to hide their shady activities. When US Customs and Border Protection officers intercepted 3 shipments of gun parts in 2019, they were stunned and confused at the number of weapons. What stunned them was that those criminals didn't even try to hide their shipment. 3 shipments of nearly 53,000 gun sights, stocks, and other parts arrived in Long Beach, California, all labeled correctly and with their original trademarks. So why were they seized? There was an arms embargo with China, which meant that exports, imports, and sales of firearms from China were prohibited. The ban was put into place as sales of gun parts soared in the US, with munitions and other items up 18% over 2018. Because the items weren't hidden, it led custom agents to believe that whoever sent them might have been testing the US government to see how closely they were watching incoming shipments. The authorities were keeping a close eye on the ports, preventing almost $400,000 of gun parts from making it to the streets. 8. Cocaine-filled baked goods. Police on the small Colombian island of San Andres noticed a recent spike in strange methods of transporting drugs. 2 men were passing through the local airport carrying a red box filled with donuts, and agents wanted to get a closer look. Thanks to their suspicions, authorities ended up finding that the 12 donuts were filled with just over 2 pounds, 1,000 grams of cocaine. That's about how much a liter of water weighs. But that's not the first time baked goods have been used to smuggle illegal substances. In 2018, Mexican authorities located around 4 pounds, 1.8 kilograms of cocaine. That's about as heavy as 7 cans of soup, worth almost $270,000 inside bread rolls destined for the United States. With the help of sniffer dogs, the 15 bread rolls were discovered. Another haul destined for New York was found when customers nabbed a Guyanese taxi driver who was found carrying 16 pounds, 7 kilograms of cocaine. That's more than the weight of 2 bowling balls. While scanning the man's luggage, officers became suspicious and pulled the man aside to question him. During the interrogation, they located drugs inside various pastries. It prompted them to conduct an even more thorough search, where officers found more drugs hidden in the man's shoes, which earned him a set of trafficking charges and a trip to prison to await trial. Even though criminals seem to get craftier with how they're hiding their illegal activities, law enforcement seems to catch on and find ways to stop these traffickers. 7. Smuggled Turtle. Customs agents have seen it all, which means smugglers have tried to get creative when trying to sneak something across international borders. When a man boarded a flight on China Southern Airlines to Beijing, he went through the usual checkpoints. But when he passed through the X-ray screening machines, airport security noticed a few odd protrusions coming out of something inside his bag. The passenger, only known as Mr. Lee, insisted there was nothing strange inside his bag. But agents persisted, and when they took a closer look, they found a Kentucky Fried Chicken wrapper. There was no sandwich inside the wrapper. Instead, the man's pet turtle was disguised as the mystery burger. Airport staff were understandably stunned and pulled the passenger aside to question him about the odd discovery. Mr. Lee explained that he simply wanted to travel with his beloved pet. No one knows why the passenger thought disguising his pet as a hamburger was a good idea. Maybe if it passed the turtle off as a service animal, he would have had more luck. Instead, his idea of a crafty disguise only ended up alerting the agents to his secret. Mr. Lee didn't get in any trouble, but he did have to abandon his pet. 6. A ton of coke. Authorities at the Port of New York and New Jersey recently seized about 3,200 pounds, 1,451 kilograms of cocaine from a shipping container. That's about 3 times as heavy as a grand piano. DEA Special Agent in Charge Ray Donovan told NPR agents carried out an inspection of the shipment after they noticed several containers on a large vessel traveling from Buenaventura, Colombia had been tampered with. That is when agents discovered the near ton and a half of cocaine, with a projected street value of $77 million. The bust was part of a joint operation involving the DEA, Customs and Border Patrol, Coast Guard, Homeland Security, New York Police Department, and New York State Police. The shipment was seized when the boat stopped over in New York on its way to Antwerp, Belgium. It contained an authentic shipment of dried fruit, but officials didn't know whether the drugs were intended for the US or meant to carry on to Europe. The cocaine was loaded on the back of the shipment, which told authorities it was the last thing put into the container. This means it will be the first thing taken off, suggesting a very sophisticated group that's been involved in trafficking for quite some time was responsible. Officials said the shipment is part of a greater development in higher cocaine usage in recent years. Experts say the cocaine market is coming back. Authorities seized about 26,500 pounds, 12,020 kilograms of cocaine in 2018. That's about the weight of 2 elephants. Agents are especially concerned with the growing trend of cocaine laced with fentanyl, a powerful opiate often used as a cheap, more potent alternative to heroin. What do you think is the best way to win the war on drugs in the US? Share your thoughts in the comments, and remember to hit the subscribe button for more videos like this. 5. Illegal ivory. Hong Kong custom officials were stunned when they came across a massive shipment of illegal animal products. Authorities at Hong Kong's port were fed a tip from customs officials that the suspicious cargo was heading their way. Following the information, officials located 21 crates and containers with a wood shipment that had traveled through Shanghai from Nigeria. Hidden within the wood, almost 1,200 ivory tusks were found, along with 13 rhino horns and nearly 5,000 pounds, 2,266 kilograms of leopard skins. That's as heavy as an SUV. The shipment ended up being one of the largest busts of endangered species products. Activists were just as alarmed as the customs officials. They say that as China's presence grows in Africa, elephants are being hunted and their tusks poached before being smuggled into Thailand to make ivory ornaments. Since 2007, the illegal trade in ivory has more than doubled, a devastating number that puts many animals at risk. With ivory going for up to $1,000 a pound, 0.45 kilograms on the black market, poachers are making a massive payday on exotic animal parts. To give you an idea of how much the black market pays, one elephant tusk can earn poachers up to $50,000. At one time, over 2 tons, about the same amount as a rhinoceros, of elephant tusks were reportedly found in a container coming from the Congo on its way to Hong Kong. Not all poachers are selling animal parts for decoration. In Asia, some believe that grinding up rhino horns and consuming them can help cure diseases. Even though under Hong Kong law, those found guilty of illegal trading can face time in prison and hefty fines, it still isn't enough to protect these animals from being hunted for their parts. 4. JP Morgan cocaine ship. When reports surfaced of a massive cocaine bust at Philadelphia port, no one expected banking giant JP Morgan Chase to be the culprit behind the discovery of 20 tons of cocaine. That's about 11 times as heavy as a car. With a street value of about $1.3 billion, the illegal drugs were found on board the MSC Guyane, a cargo ship. US Customs and Border Protection seized the drugs, but after news broke, the US Attorney's Office issued a warrant that gave them the power to seize the ship, which was on its way to Northern Europe. Ships like this aren't usually confiscated, but given the size of the haul and the street value of the drugs, law enforcement made the right move. Even though the ship was owned by the bank, it flew under the Liberian flag, which meant it wasn't operated by the bank. It was up to agents to look into how the ship was connected to the banking giant, as they tried to figure out who among the crew was involved in the illegal operation. As prosecutors worked the case, they found out that one of the crew members who'd first started working on the ship 11 years earlier had set his sights on becoming the second in command behind the captain of the ship. Motivated by greed, Bosko Markovic and 3 other men boarded the ship in Montenegro, and along with 4 other crew members, used secret communications to plan their operation. They worked under the cover of night on speedboats, loading duffel bags of cocaine onto the ship, hiding the drugs in containers where they hoped they wouldn't be found. Luckily, because of an anonymous tip, the cocaine was seized and all the conspirators were convicted and sentenced for their part in the crime. Who do you think tipped off the authorities? 3. Pangolins. The pangolin is an unusual and rare animal. There are 8 different species of the mammal, each one covered entirely in scales and known to curl into a ball to protect themselves from predators. In 2014, a shipping container was seized in Hong Kong with a record 8 tons of scales found inside. That's about 4 times as heavy as a giraffe. It's no wonder why this member of the anteater family is an endangered species. These animals are one of the most trafficked mammals in Asia. In 2016, the World Wildlife Foundation passed a special law to help protect these animals and reduce the number of businesses that seek illegal wildlife products. Sadly, hunters continue poaching the animals for their meat, considered a delicacy in China. They also seek them out for their scales, made from the same material as human fingernails and hair. Even though that might not make the animal's scales seem that special, they are used in traditional folk remedies to cure various illnesses. These beliefs are putting the pangolin at risk, with about 100,000 snatched every year. Between 2011 and 2013, about 230,000 were killed. Not even international laws protecting the animals can stop poachers from targeting them. They aren't vicious creatures, only living off the ants, termites, and larvae they scavenge. So it's hard to tell exactly when the pangolin became such a sought-after animal. As illegal international trading of pangolins and their parts continues to rise, these quiet creatures will remain at risk. 2. Drug-filled statue. The next time you pick up a keepsake from one of your trips abroad, you might want to look inside first. What looked like an innocent snail statue coming from the Sinaloa state of Mexico ended up with a surprise inside for eagle-eyed US Customs agents in Cincinnati. The figurine was labeled as Mexican stonecrafts, but because many of the illegal drugs available in the USA come through Mexico, agents took a closer look. Using X-ray machines, they detected anomalies inside the figure, which prompted them to drill some holes in the bottom, exposing white crystalline powder inside. Tests confirmed that the substance was methamphetamine, with the total haul coming in at just over 50 pounds, 23 kilograms of the drug. That's the same weight as a bag of cement mix. Not only is it a lethal trade, with drugs being produced by some of the most dangerous cartels, but narcotics produced in Mexico are often more potent and purer, leading to more deaths. As more drug seizures are made, traffickers are trying to come up with inventive ways to get their goods into the US, prompting customs agents to scrutinize incoming packages and goods even more closely. The discovery of the snail statue and its unique concealment method is a reminder that agents need to stay sharp if they want to restrict the availability of these dangerous drugs. 1. Canadian opium seizure. When a couple of shipping containers looked a little suspicious to Canada Border Services agents, they decided to investigate, and it's a good thing they did. They ended up discovering 84 packages of opium in containers that had arrived at their border from the United Arab Emirates. But that was just the beginning. Almost 2 months later, officers at the same facility found another shipping container from the UAE with 75 pounds, 31 kilograms of opium. That's about how much your dryer weighs. Combined with the previous seizure, agents had found almost 11 pounds, 96 kilograms of the drugs, which are processed into highly addictive heroin and other opioids. That's about how much a gallon of paint weighs. Wondering how custom agents knew which containers to search? The National Targeting Center monitors goods coming into Canada, flagging anything they think might pose a threat to the safety and security of the country. After tracking the containers, the NTC felt they might contain something risky, so they informed the Canada Border Services Agency about the shipment. Luckily, customs agents examined the containers and located the drugs before they could slip silently into Canada. And with over 2,600 pounds, 1,200 kilograms, as heavy as 3 horses of opium seized in 2021 alone, it seems they have their work cut out for them. Thanks for watching. Which one of these things seized from customs officers did you find the craziest? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos like these. See you next time, bye!